Hey, so it is about mid-August, and if you think that you still have months to go before you start thinking about optimizing for holiday shopping, I want to tell you that now is the better time to do it. So what I want to do is walk through just a handful of places inside of WooCommerce that you want to be thinking about, start the conversation so that you can configure your store for maximum occupancy. What are we talking about? We're talking about high concurrency, lots of people coming in, and you got to understand what some of these options mean and do as it relates to that high concurrency so that you can say, okay, this is the trade off we're making, and this is what we want to have happen. And you go from there. When you have a lot of traffic on the site, that's not going to be the time to start figuring out which of these settings you want to adjust. So, with that said, let's get into it. The first thing I want to tell you about is coupons, right? There's nothing wrong with coupons, but right over here, this checkbox says enable the use of coupons. And what you have to know is if you check that box, you're going to give people coupons. That's for sure, right? But it means that when someone goes to put in a coupon, you're likely making another call back to the database to check to see if that coupon's valid and all the other constraints you've put on that coupon. Every time you say, well, that coupon works for this product category, but not this category. It works for this product, but not this product. It works on this day, but it expires on this day. All of those are calculations happening back in the database. So what might you do? Well, you might create coupons that don't have a lot of those constraints. That's one strategy. Another strategy is you might just remove the coupons and just go, hey, boom, we're lowering our prices from this date to this date. We're going to do an automatic 10% or 15% off across the board, no coupons needed. It's a cool approach, but it means you don't have to worry about those extra calls to the database. Again, like I said, good time to have the conversation now so you can configure it. And if you're going to run testing, make sure that you're running testing on coupons. A lot of people will test traffic to hitting different pages and never think about, well, in checkout, let's try these different coupons and see how it works. So coupons, that's the first thing to think about. What's the next thing to think about? Hey, your inventory. If you're selling stuff, you want to make sure that you've checked these boxes for low stock and out of stock notifications. You might even want to send those notices to a special email, right? That's one that you have directly on your hip, something that you're paying attention to. Maybe it's a special person who's going to pay attention, but you need to figure out, right? Not only what does low threshold mean and out of stock mean, but who is going to get this? And the big question of the day is, if a product is out of stock, do you want to take it off the catalog, right? That's important because what you don't want is those extra clicks of someone going in to look at a product and then they can't go. You're just asking for more processing on the server. And the name of the game at holidays is restrict the amount of work you're asking your server to do. So if you check that box, you're just saying, hey, don't show it. Don't show it up in the search. Don't show it up in the, just basically hide it from our catalog. And that may be something you want to do. All right. Number 3, do you allow people to check out as a guest, right? Without creating an account. Now, normally I would tell you, you don't want this. You don't want this, right? Make sure they have an account. You'll have an email. You can follow up with them. But at holiday season time, I go, this is something to talk about. Maybe you want to check this box and say, hey, it's okay, right? We don't have to worry about it. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to let them, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm not going to check this box, but I'm going to automatically use their email and I'm automatically going to create a password, meaning I'm not asking for the user to do anything, right? Either way, you want to have that conversation. Now, cart notices. There is an ability that you have to go into your shipping, pick a shipping zone like US shipping and add the flat rate shipping you normally would, but then add free shipping. And in there, you can mark it as, hey, heads up, you have to have $100 spend and then you get free shipping. You also can download an extension called Cart Notices, which lets you create that actual notice, right? It shows up in the cart, it shows up in the checkout, it shows up in all these places, and you can say, hey, it's a minimum amount dynamic. You don't have to fill in the amount because you've done it over on the free shipping side. And so you can say, hey, free shipping. So this is one of those ways that helps drive people to the right amount, whatever that amount is, $60, $100, whatever it is, and encourages a higher average order value for your carts. So that's super cool and worth configuring. But that means having conversations. What's the number? What's the right number for free shipping? If you're going to have the conversation, have it now. Now, what else? In your plugin section, there is an option to go download an extension, a plugin called WPMail SMTP. What you're really doing is saying, I don't want my web server to send out email. I don't want my web server to send email at all. I want to connect my website, my online store, to somewhere else that's going to send out the email. And WPMail SMTP has a lot of different options that you can connect it to. I recommend the premium version, but whatever you want, just make sure you get this in play because you don't want your web server sending email. Every cycle that your server does spending email is a cycle it can't help one of your customers coming to the site, which means it slows it down for them. So get email off of your site by using WPMail SMTP, which takes us to, hey, emails. Your website is pre-configured to send a lot of different emails. You may not need to send all those emails. So you want to go through all of these and decide which of these should be active and which of these don't need to be active. And you can go in and you can kill them and you can adjust them and all that good stuff. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is reporting. Now, you can go down into here and you can go into analytics and you can start looking at stuff. People do it all the time, right? But every time you click on something, right? Like if you click on here to say, let's go run a report, you're asking the web server that is functioning as your cart to go do something new, reporting, right? Go calculate data, go pull together data. And every person I've ever seen who likes to play in reports spends time doing that. And the more you're asking your web server to be a report server instead of being a cart server, you're going to slow down your cart customers. That's why I recommend glue.io. At glue.io, and again, this is for people who have enough data, enough orders to really care, to have the conversation in August. I'm not talking about like you have 3 orders a month and it's your family. But if you're serious in e-commerce, then pushing all your business intelligence to a data mart that is off-site is fantastic. And Glue pricing, I think, starts at $79 if you're under $1 million a year in revenue. So it's well worth it on the price. It is the best data, remote data for e-commerce, right? A remote data warehouse plus all the slicing and dicing, all the segmentation, everything else you could ever want. It's the smartest platform for e-commerce ever, and it means your web server is not doing reporting. So check out Glue. Of course, if you're at Nexus and you're on one of our larger plans for WooCommerce hosting, we automatically tuck Glue in for you, so you don't have to worry. Anyway, those are several things to think about. I tried to run through them all super quickly. Several things to think about as you prepare for the holiday season.